Hi, I'm Bill from CJ Pony Parts. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than what you're used to seeing here at CJ's. We're not going to show you a hot new part. We're not going to show you how to install anything. Instead, we're going to tell you the story of these 5 brave Marines pictured on the hood of this 2006 Mustang GT. This car is owned by Teresa, who's actually let us use it in videos in the past. But tell us about the hood. What was the inspiration for this design?
In 2011, we got involved with Rally North America, and last year the charity rally was Hope for the Warriors, so we wanted to do a memorial for these guys who had served with Mike's nephew.
Mike, tell me about the significance of these 5 Marines pictured here.
Well, how this all came about is when we knew we were going to do the charity rally. Every year that we do the rally, we like to link it back to the charity, do some kind of honor for the people that are involved in the charity. And the way that this came about was literally one evening in January, this popped up, something similar to this popped up on Facebook. Teresa and I looked at each other and we said, how neat would it be to try to do something like this on the car?
Okay.
And so the project didn't really have that much significance to me until I started trying to locate the families.
Okay.
Because there was no place we could go. There was nobody that knew where all the families were. We felt we had to go back, talk to the families, get their permission, get the photo that they would want to have in the artwork.
And what was your relationship with these 5 Marines? How did you even find out about them? I know you served in the Marine Corps yourself, and how did you find out about these particular?
This was my nephew's unit when he was deployed to Afghanistan.
Oh, okay, okay.
And as units go, and all units that are deployed in combat are tight, this group of people were extremely tight. And my nephew had to come home because his father died while he was over there, and he fought to go back. And when he was done with his burying his dad, they didn't want it. The Marine Corps didn't want to send him back, and he said, "No, I'm going back." So he actually went back to Afghanistan to complete his deployment with these guys. So as we started learning more about the Marines, learning more about the families and their significance, it took on a much deeper meaning than what the project started out with.
And tell us about the individuals, like their names, their service records, why you picked the ones you picked.
Well, these 5 Marines were killed in action while deployed to Afghanistan. So these are the 5 casualties from that unit that are dead. And it's interesting because when people talk about folks that are in the military or in the Marine Corps, they don't truly understand how exceptional these young men and women are that go into the military these days. All 5 of these Marines could have been successful in whatever they did in life, and they chose to be in the Marine Corps. More significantly, several of these Marines chose to go to Afghanistan with this unit because their friends were there, and they wanted to deploy with their friends. Corporal Zanowick was a second deployment to Afghanistan. The first time that he was there, a number of his Marines were injured by IEDs. He made a personal goal that nobody in his platoon, in his patrol, were going to be casualties to IEDs, and he was the only casualty to come out of his platoon. What's significant about him was he didn't have to get injured. He was, it wasn't one of his Marines. Somebody was shot. Somebody had to get out of the vehicle to go to retrieve the Marine. He stepped out, knowing that he was probably going to get hit. Camaro, Lance Corporal Camaro, from the Philippines, lived in Hawaii. From the time he was 6 years old, he wanted to be in the Marine Corps. It was just,
so that was his life goal. That's where he was going to.
Yeah, it was. He wanted to be in the infantry, and he wanted to go overseas. And he loved to fish. Had 2 sisters. Just a really likable guy. Corporal Hill in the center here. Everybody in his family, including his dad, are Marines. His younger brother was a senior in high school. After he was killed in action, his younger brother still went into the Marine Corps. His older brother, who's now a sergeant in the Marine Corps, was a sniper deployed to Iraq and was the one who had to escort his body home to his family. Stellar athlete, likable guy. Just one of those people that everybody knew.
Another Marine for life.
Exactly. Goyette, he's a really interesting guy. His second deployment to Afghanistan, he was essentially out of the Marine Corps. His dad was a commander in the Navy. He was actually on a Westpac deployment, basically in the Western Pacific. When he found out that his old unit was going back to Afghanistan, a number of his friends were in the unit, he volunteered to leave his deployment to go back over into harm's way, extended his tour in the Marine Corps.
Wow. So he was out if he wanted to be, but he wanted to stay in.
Yeah, well, actually, he didn't necessarily want to stay in. He knew he was going to go to college, but he decided that he was going to go back with his friends. Wow. Staff Sergeant Lucas, a Marine's Marine. Everything he ever did in the Marine Corps, he was number one. Number one at a boot camp, skill school. Everything he did, he was always number one. But he's also a very likable guy. One of the things I've learned about him is everybody liked the guy. He really, really tough on his Marines, but everybody liked him. His final, it's hard not to talk about him without getting a tear.
That's fine, take a minute.
His final, when he deployed, his wife was pregnant. And so his youngest kid doesn't know anything about him. But the last thing he did in life was when he saw a grenade and other Marines were around, he got on top of it. And he wasn't in a position that anything he did was going to save his life. He had no armor on, nothing. And he knew when he lay down that he was done. But he was just an exceptional man, exceptional human being.
In addition to Teresa and Mike, we have Alex with us here today. Alex is a Purple Heart recipient who served in the Marines in Afghanistan. He's here to actually give us a hand because we're taking this hood off and we're sending it out to the battalion in California.
So Bill, 3rd Battalion, 4th Marines, they're part of 7th Marine Regiment. They're out at 29 Palms. And the unit was disbanded after one of their deployments in May of 2014.
Okay.
And they were just recently reinstated as an active duty infantry battalion in September of 15. That usually happens when the Marine Corps is getting ready to deploy again and or go into a time of conflict.
Okay, and they're reactivated and they actually want this hood for their battalion as like a symbol of the battalion itself.
So it'll be taken off and being sent to their battalion, probably their battalion commander, to be put up in their headquarters building.
Teresa, we have a little surprise for you. We talked to our friends over at Cervini's, we told them what you were doing, and they donated a new hood for your car.
Oh my God. That's crazy, thank you. Oh my gosh, that's insane. Oh.
Yeah, we talked to them, I told him what we were doing with the hood, and he's like, just pick one. So whatever one she wants. And I took a guess, because I tried to get you on Facebook to tell me what hoods you liked, and you wouldn't help me, so I took a chance on one.
Oh my gosh, thank you. It's amazing. It's perfect.
So we'll get that installed for you today, and we're actually going to talk to some of the shops we work with, and we'll give you a hand getting it painted too.
Okay.
Teresa, it's an extremely generous thing you're doing for those Marines, for their families, for that battalion, and thanks for letting us be involved with it.
Thank you. We'd like to thank the families for entrusting their memories of their boys to Mike and I for the memorial. And we'd like to thank Bill and CJ's for getting involved and shipping the hood to California for us, and Savini's for the amazing hood.
For more information on Hope for the Warriors, click the link below.